Hi. So I can bop my mic with my nose. So, yeah. So I have been a follower of a YouTuber called Azzy for years. I used to watch her when she was a person who was with Gloom. Like she would collab with Gloom. And if you guys don't know, Gloom is a YouTuber who did like variety content, a lot of artsy stuff, a lot of like I guess gameplays, some reaction stuff, but she ended up leaving YouTube because she had a medical issue and she's still on break. She's been gone for a year. But that is how I discovered Azzy. I discovered her through her collaborations with Gloom. And I haven't watched Azzy for maybe a couple of months because like I just got so busy and I forgot about her. But she was a wholesome sort of variety streamer and she used to do things and she'd be like delicious and all that. And I used to watch her workout videos too. I used to actually like there was some things with hip thrusters and all these kind of workouts that actually looked really interesting in terms of fitness. And a lot of people have actually been talking about Azzy for quite some time in a negative fashion. Now, I personally think Azzy is a good person because if you look at her content, it's always positive. She never has anything negative to say. And honestly, I feel like Azzy is one of those people where she's just so nice, you know? And what has happened is over the years, a lot of people have been comparing her to Sniperwolf. Now, as unfortunate as that is, because none of us want to be compared to Sniperwolf, I feel that I understand why, because they both do variety content. They both have a very similar look. Um, Dark, long hair, white skin, very pretty, curvy figures, but on the slim side. Obviously, both are healthy looking, and they both have this niche market. And basically, what has happened is essentially, as people on locale would call it seems like Azzy has been skinwalked. So what I'm trying to say here is that Sniperwolf has pretended to be Azzy. And this isn't the first case that this has happened because there are plenty of YouTubers out there that they find lower quality. Oh, I wouldn't even say lower quality. I'd say lower views and lower subscriber based YouTubers out there that are doing good content. And what these bigger YouTubers do is they steal that content and then they make it their own. Now, in the past, it was promoted that people on YouTube could basically make the sequel. And the sequel would be you take an idea and you make it better. But that doesn't directly mean that you directly copy somebody word for words, like visual elements and everything. There have been times where I have personally bought a sweater because I was like, maybe I could have this aesthetic to look. And then there are times where like other people, I've seen them do the same thing. But there's a difference between looking at inspiration and being like, hey, like these color coordinations look really good. Like I'm wearing a shirt that I feel like looks aesthetically pleasing for my webcam right now. And it has a certain look to it. But there are people out there who may buy this kind of shirt too. Who knows? But then there are people who are calling out that behavior as well. But as a person, this situation has been going on for a very long time, and yeah, like I feel like Sniperwolf has been copying Azzy if you look at their screenshots and everything. Um it's something that's been said over years, but like and to me it was obvious because it just feels like you can tell like when people are copying and when people are being legitimate. And I feel like that it's very obvious that Sniperwolf was copying her. But unfortunately, and this is where YouTubers have power, they it's like she's weaponized her fan base, which is really unfortunate and sad to see because I don't think anybody's fan base should be weaponized. I think that myself as a YouTuber, right? I know that I make low views, and that's fine because some people get seen, some people don't. I'm here because I want to make things that I enjoy and talk about things that most people are not interested in talking to me about, to be frank. And I feel like that when I make these videos, I make it for myself, but I always appreciate that there are people out there who are willing to take the time out of their day to watch me. And I would never want people to go and belittle somebody else on my behalf, right? And I got a taste of that a few years ago because there's obviously when I was having that situation with Canada Jin 3 and even like Gary Awesome and stuff, I feel like that it's very easy to unintentionally have fans weaponized, right? But at the same time, it's also very easy to be like, hey, we don't like this person, so we don't like this person. And then these people who have these fan bases and these cult followings are aware, they're hyper aware that people are super invested in them and will go for blood. And I think that a lot of people who are on YouTube are responsible and say, hang on, like, I don't want you guys doing this, right? Azzy is one of those people. We've seen people like Cinnamon Toast Ken who have been like, hey, we don't really, I don't agree with you guys going and searching these people. I mean, even LolCow has that standard where they're like, don't cow tip, you know? But the fact is that, like, this YouTuber, Sniperwolf, she is so toxic that she's actually been saying this person is doing this, and she's been publicly shaming her, knowing her fans will go follow her. And I feel like that it's really good that a lot of YouTubers are calling this out. And it's really good that this behavior is being criticized, because even though it does not seem like YouTube themselves are doing anything to prevent this behavior, it seems like the community is. And I think that we can all be proud of ourselves and grateful that, like, people are calling out bad behavior that is toxic to the platform, because we've had so many instances out there where lots of people have been like, hey, this is bad, and then they get shunned, right? Or ignored. It's really good to see a community come together and be like, hey, we don't appreciate the fact that you're doing something so hostile and so toxic. I don't think it will kill her channel, because I don't think as many people are invested in this situation as, like, as it could be. But there are people certainly who would keep following Sniperwolf and being like, hey, I am a fan and I believe you and all that, without following through and looking at all the details. But what I can say is, I feel like that it is beautiful that heaps of people are like, hey, we don't agree with this and we want our platform to not be like this. I think that's fantastic. So I feel like anybody who's calling out this behavior, you guys can have this huge round of applause, because realistically, I want this platform to be an amazing thing. I want you guys to want this platform to be an amazing thing. And I think that we can all make this place great by just not supporting toxic, like, YouTubers and stuff. I also do appreciate the fact that the whole idea with Jack Films, the doxing element of copyright strikes has been brought up. Because obviously, like, what happened with me a few years ago when Kenna Dejin posted my details online, I feel like obviously she blocked out some stuff, and I feel like that it was really inappropriate of her to do that. But I was a little bit like, if I call this out, will people actually use this as a method of doxing? And I'm actually glad to see that people are actually being like, hey, this is a problem, YouTube. I think that's really interesting to see that the context has brought up this issue, and hopefully YouTube will do something about it. But it really is kind of disappointing that it seems like they're only giving her a slap on the wrist. But at least we know as a community there's a moral standing that we are all agreeing with, in the sense of like, hey, this behavior is just shitty. Anyway, I guess I'll leave that. So, yeah.